Hi, I'm Tracy Henry with the Illinois High School Association, and I'm joined here with Ben Stewart. And we're going to go through some step-by-step processes for your upcoming girls gymnastics meet so you can run it smoothly on the TourneyWire software that we use for all of our regionals, sectionals, and state final here. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Ben. Let's get started.
Thanks so much, Tracy. I appreciate it. I'm glad to be on this call and glad to be helping you all learn the TourneyWire system so that you feel comfortable leading up to your regional. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here so that hopefully you can all see what I'm working on. Let me pull this up. And Tracy, if I've messed it up, please just stop me. But hopefully you now see the TourneyWire Gymnastics homepage. So the way that you would get here, because right now I'm already logged in, is you're going to be emailed manager credentials. You're going to be emailed a username and a password that you as the meet manager are going to use to log in and then reach this page where you can manage your contest. That will be emailed to you either by myself or by the IHSA office, and that email will also include the URL or the website address that you need to go to in order to log in. Just for your reference, it is tourneywire.com/gymnastics. Again, that's tourneywire.com/gymnastics. But again, that should be in the email as well. So there's a couple ways you can get to that. We're going to go over a few items, not all that many because there aren't that many concepts needed for the operation of your meet, and I don't want to waste your time, but I'm grateful that you're taking this time to learn. So the first thing that you might need to do when you get into the contest is to look at the schools and the entries in your contest and look at the performance orders. You don't have to conduct the draw. The computer software conducts the draw in alignment with the IHSA rules. So that's already going to be done for you when you first log into the contest. Let's say that you wanted to look at the schools and the entries in your contest. What you would do is click this button in the administration row with the school bus on it that says teams. And if you go ahead and click on that, you're going to see the teams that are in your contest. And then you're going to see a button for students that says add/edit. So if you needed to make a change to the entries from a team, you would just click on add/edit. And then you're going to see this grid appear here. I don't think you'll have the add a student option. That's just for me and for Tracy and the IHSA office. So if you need to add a student that wasn't on the entry list, you're going to need to contact them because you won't have that ability. You need to contact the IHSA office, that is. Then you'll see the students that were on the roster. And you'll also see these colorful squares, and they indicate which events the student is entered in and which ones they're not. And this can be a little bit unintuitive the first time you look at it, depending on how you're coming at it. But you'll see that some of them are red and say enter, and some of them are green and say drop. If it is green and it has a drop button, that means the student is entered in the event. And if you click the button, you will drop them from the event. If it is red and it says enter, that means they are not entered in the event. And if you click enter, you will enter them in the event. I know that's sort of backwards of the way some people's brains work. So you just have to kind of wrap your brain around it and see what it's doing. You'll also see an all around column. It's going to be green for those students who are entered in all around. Generally, they're going to be entered in all around automatically if they're entered in all 4 events. But if you drop someone from an event, I can do that in this test meet. I'm going to drop Kelly from this event. You'll see that they were also dropped from all around because now they're no longer in all 4 events. And then if I wanted to enter them back in, you'll see they're automatically entered in all around because they're in all 4 events. At a regional, the assumption is if you're in all 4 events, you're going to enter all around. But if you had to drop them out of all around, you could by using that button. So that's how you make changes to a team. Let's say you wanted to go to a performance order. So you made these changes in floor exercise, and then you wanted to see what the floor exercise performance order looks like. You can click here in the upper part of this page where it says jump to performance orders. You can click on floor, and then that's going to take you to this performance order for this contest. And you can see the order that these students are set to perform in. If you need to make changes to the performance order, there are up and down links on the right side of this grid. So you can move people up in the performance order or down in the performance order. Please note, though, that the school performs as a block, so you're not going to be able to move people outside the school block or the rotation that they're performing in. And you can use these buttons to just jump around between all of the different events. Additionally, if you're on the home page, you can get to the performance orders by just clicking on performance orders, and that'll take you to the same spot where you can see the performance orders. You can also skip from the performance order into a school's students to make changes to their entries. So if you clicked on Arlington Heights here, then you would open up their entries and you can make changes, and then you could jump back to a performance order and then jump to another school and then jump back to a performance order. So in that way, you can very quickly navigate between the entries for a school and the performance order for the school and make whatever changes you need to, hopefully very effectively. You can also, if you need to, see the drawing results from the homepage where you can see the results of the draw. But again, that's conducted by the computer, so it's not as crucial that you worry too much about that.
The drawing results will be very helpful when you're creating your warm-up schedule. So that's when you're likely going to use that area within the program.
That's a great point. Yep, that's exactly right. And that's the viewpoint that I, as a programmer, do not always have. So I appreciate that. That's extremely important to note. Is there anything else you want to throw in here with this first step, Tracy?
No, I think, are you going to get to change sheets? Because the 2 steps that Ben went over, you're going to do both of those steps once you have the change sheets back. And
Right.
for you as a manager, that's going to be what you want to do first. So whoever is going to be the person that's doing your scoring entry or scoring the meet, you're going to want to have them have the change sheets ready as soon as your teams walk into either your regional or your sectional, and you're going to want to get those back from your coaches as soon as possible, so then you can implement the steps that Ben just reviewed.
Right. Yeah. So the part that I went over first was just in case, in the off chance that ahead of your contest, you receive very early drops or changes, you can make them in the computer ahead of time. But we're going to fast forward to now the start of the contest, or the hour before the contest, when the schools are arriving, getting set up, getting ready, the coaches are checking in. When they arrive, they're going to need the change sheet, just like Tracy just specified. The way you generate that is the printing center from your homepage. So if you click on printing center, the first report in the printing center is the change sheets. And you can go ahead and generate those for all of your schools. So this is going to generate something that looks kind of like this. It looks like they're all going to come out as one big page, but really there are invisible page breaks between each team. So if you go ahead and print this tab by hitting Control P or File Print, or right-clicking and print, or whatever your browser does, this should then be sent off to your printer, ideally in portrait mode, and it should come out as one page for each school. And then if it spills, if a roster is really big and it spills over to a second page, that's okay. Just be cognizant of the fact that you want to make sure each school receives all of their information. So you would give this change sheet to the coach, and then they would mark any changes on the right side that they need to have you make. And then once those get returned to you, that then is another point, just like Tracy said, where you're going to go into the homepage here, click on teams, edit their entries for the change sheet that you just received, and then translate all those changes into drops from events, entries into events, and then also changing the performance orders if they made changes to that order that is listed on that change sheet. So you can make all the changes just the way that we went over, using these up and down links, jumping into a school, entering a student into an event, dropping them. It won't let me do things that are illegal, by the way. I was just trying to, and it said, no, they already have 5 in the beam. You can't enter more than 5. Well, that's true. So I might need to drop someone from the beam in order to enter someone. So that's how you make all those changes from those change sheets. Tracy, was there anything you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, so on your change sheets, again, just make sure that you have the change sheets printed prior to those coaches coming to your meet. As soon as they get to the meet, right when warm-up starts, give the change sheets to those head coaches. If they have changes, make the changes, and then have them print off a new copy. And once they have a copy in which they have no more changes, you sign that, you keep one copy, and then you give that coach a copy so they know the order of their competitors. So if there aren't any changes, just take the sheet that the coach signed and then print them one so then they have the order of their competitors. And then once you have all the change sheets in, then you can print your score sheets and your performance orders as soon as they're accurate. You're going to likely want to go to maybe your office or somewhere that can print quickly to a Xerox machine or something like that versus just using kind of a small remote type of printer in a gym. So again, that's probably what's going to be the most efficient. Get the change sheets back as soon as those are done and accurate as early as possible prior to the start of the actual meet. You want to get these done, get the changes made, get them implemented, and then print those sheets off right away so you're ready to go at 6 p.m. when your meet starts.
Perfect. Yep. That is the way to do it. So before I go into putting in or printing out score sheets, I want to also mention that there are a couple other reports here in the printing center that you can use if you want to. One is a judge's order, which is an order of performances that the judges can use as a reference or the officials can use as a reference while they're scoring. You can print that out if you want to from the printing center. There's also a booklet order, which could be handed out to attendees if you wanted to. And again, it's just a performance order formatted somewhat differently. So those two features do exist in the printing center as well. More importantly, perhaps, just above that is the team by sheet score sheets. And these are the score sheets that your judges, your officials are going to use to score the performances. These should not be printed until all of the changes have been made. So do not print out the score sheets until all of the change sheets have come back and all of the coaches have signed off on a corrected or unchanged, but score sheet that they are agreeing to. That they say this is correct, what's in the computer is correct. I agree with this. Once all of the schools have agreed to that, then you can go ahead and generate your score sheets. And you can generate them all at once at the start of the contest by just saying all events, all teams, generate. And this is going to generate then something that looks just like this, which when printed in landscape form, remember I said change sheet should be in portrait, this score sheet report should be printed landscape from your browser. And you can do that when you hit Control P or whatever, or Apple P, by then doing page setup or formatting it in the pop-up for your browser that appears. That's not a TourneyWire thing, that's a browser thing, so just make sure that you know how to put it in landscape. But when you print this out in landscape, it'll end up looking quite good. This text here at the top that looks a little bit wide will actually format right on top of each of the 5 columns. And then that'll show the gymnasts in order and give the score sheets that the judges need in order to do their scoring. And it'll print with the correct score sheet for each event. These have been updated for the current year. So you can just go ahead and print this one report by in the printing center saying all events, all teams, generate, and then hitting Control P, file print, whatever you want to do in order to send this to your printer. Because all of the team's gymnasts in an event will appear on one page, it's not as many pages as it once was, but it's still a lot of pages. So, and it's a lot of stuff to print. So just like Tracy said, you're going to be doing this in between the change sheets coming in, you making the changes, and then the meet starting. So you want to make sure that you've planned to have access to a pretty fast printer so you can print these out quickly and get them sent over to your judges and your officials. Is there anything you wanted to add on that process?
That, like you said, I think printing to hopefully like a Xerox machine or something like that is really the best practice. And then once you have those score sheets in order by event, so when you get ready to take out your vault score sheets, as Ben indicated earlier, there's a performance order. You'll want to have a copy, 2 copies of the performance order for your judges, and then also your score sheets by event.
Exactly. And then, yeah, just like Tracy said, that judge's order here is generated here. And Tracy, I assume this seems like common sense to me, but I have not run a contest myself. I've only been at contests providing support. You shouldn't print this judge's order until all those change sheets are in, right?
That's correct. You'll also want to wait to print those until all change sheets are in so they're accurate
Great.
with the correct order of performance. Yep.
Perfect. So once the meet begins, of course, you're going to start getting completed score sheets in from your officials, and you're going to need to enter those into the computer. So the way you do that is by using these buttons at the top of the page that say enter results, and you'll see that there's one button for each of your events. I just also want to draw your attention before we begin entering results in the test meet here on this call to this event status right below. This shows how much of each event is in. You'll notice that in my test meet, because we've used this test meet many, many times, it has a lot of results already in it. These would all say 0 ratings at the beginning of your day. So there'll be some results in here already, but we'll still be able to demonstrate just fine. Where we say enter results, let's say that I have a beam score sheet come back. I have not given myself. Okay. I may need just a moment here, Tracy.
Sure.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I thought that I'd tested that. Let me just take this off real quick.
You got it. So while we are waiting for Ben to just make that little change, just want to thank all of you for hosting. It's certainly appreciated. If you do have questions anytime throughout your meet, you can always reach out to me directly. I'm going to give you my cell phone number now and also include it in the communication once you get your login password for your site. It's Tracy Henry 309-531-1191. And we'll be sending you a link and then also a username and password for your specific regional or sectional.
Do you mind if I go to a meet from the past?
Sure, that
Okay,
works.
because for some reason the test meet is just not letting me do it.
Yep,
So anyway, I'm going
absolutely.
to, okay, as long as you're okay with it. So
Absolutely, yep. It's
I'm going to pull this back up. All right, sorry for the delay, everyone. So we're in a meet now that has full results, but again, we're just going to go over kind of the way you go about doing this. So if I click on Beam here, you'll see that this score sheet comes up. And what you want to mostly pay attention to here are these boxes. You have columns of boxes with scores in them. And so what you'll do is you'll type in the exact scores that come in from each of these judges. So let's say, and don't worry, I won't save these results. But let's say that this is totally blank. So this is a brand new meet. I'm just going to block this out real quick, just so you will have an idea of what it looks like. And so here we go. This event now is totally empty. These would all say 0. And let's say that I'm putting in these scores and we say 8.5, 8.7. And then if you want to save this, after you put in one row of scores, you can just hit enter and that will save it and compute the total. Also, you could just continue. Let's say that you have all of the scores for one team and we put in all of these like so, probably more like this. So you probably receive one team at a time. You put in all their scores, you finish that up, and then you hit enter, or you click save these scores, and that will go ahead and save them. You'll also notice that at the top here, there's also save and vault, save and bars, save and floor. That will take you to another event. So let's say that you've completed this beam score sheet and you know the next score sheet you have is bars. You would go ahead and put in the CJ and the AJ scores and then hit save and bars. That'll save your beam scores and it'll take you directly into the bars score sheet where you can continue with the next scores for bars. So in that way, you can very easily jump between the events as those scores come in. Additionally, if you want to, you can use the enter key in order to submit the scores. Please note, though, that the tab key is what you use to move between tabs and also to advance to the next gymnast. So if I put in, let's say I have the next scores here, 6.5, tab, 6.6, tab, now I'm in the deductions column, tab again, now I'm in the next gymnast. 7.2, 7.4, tab, tab, 7.5, 7.6. Alternately, if I hit enter here, it will take me to the next row and it will save the scores. So it's really your option if, you know, in between gymnasts in the same team, if you want to tab between them or if you just want to hit enter. Just keep in mind that whenever you hit enter, it's going to save the scores and update the total column. So you can do it between gymnasts, or you can do it after a school is fully in, or you can just use these save and vault, save and bars, save and floor buttons at the top in order to jump between your events. Tracy, did you have anything to add to that?
Nope, that's perfect. It's very user-friendly when it comes to inputting scores.
Great. Thank you. I appreciate that. So I'm going to just pop off of this real quick, and I'm just going to pop up the test meet one more time for the rest of this call because I shouldn't run into any more problems. Let me share this again, and we'll pop over to here. Okay, so once we've entered those scores, we're going to fast forward through the meet to printing the results and posting your winner report. So this is the stuff that you do toward the conclusion of the meet. And I think Tracy will probably have some really good notes on the process for doing this too. So I'm going to talk about printing, how you print them, and then I think I'm going to throw to Tracy to talk about the best procedure at the end of your meet to get these results posted, approved, and then move on to your awards. So when your meet concludes and you've started to see that these event statuses are beginning to show done, you'll notice that bars for my meet is fully tabulated at this point. Vault is almost done. Beam and floor are almost done. Once these start showing done, which means all of the scores are in, you can go to Printing Center, and you're going to want to use the standings report here at the bottom, and you can generate this for each event. So bars, I believe, was done. So we're going to go ahead and print the standings for bars. You'll notice that we've got all of our standings here for my test meet. And then you'll notice that there are some folks with zeros entered at the bottom. These might be students who unfortunately were injured and couldn't continue competing in their other events, or just dropped an event for whatever reason, didn't compete in it. You can enter zeros for those students just so that you can move on. If you don't enter zeros in the score sheet, the computer may keep popping back up to that student for the rest of the day saying, don't you want to put in scores for this student? Putting in the actual zeros tells the computer, no, they didn't perform and they're not going to. And that way you can just proceed through. So that's why there might be some students with zeros at the bottom. But then this just basically you send to your printer the same way that you sent the earlier printed reports with Control P, file print, what have you. And that will go ahead and send that over. And Tracy, I'll let you talk a little bit about what that process looks like of how you post those.
Yeah, so once you've had all those scores in and you're ready to print your results, you're going to want to post these for about 10-15 minutes just so all coaches can review the scores, make sure they're accurate. At your sectionals, we are going to have live results going online, so most of your coaches are going to be looking there, just double checking to see if there's any input errors or anything for those results. But especially at your regionals, you're going to want to give them a little time to review them. Once your coaches have had a chance to review those results, everything appears to be accurate, then you're ready to proceed with announcing your medalists and then also posting online once all those medalists have been announced, as well as your regional champion as a team. Okay, so that's really it. That takes you to the end of your meet. We're going to send out a link, your username and password, and then also a checklist for you to follow on the night of your meet. And then if you have any additional questions from there, don't hesitate to either reach out to Ben or myself.
Yep, absolutely. And just if you don't mind, Tracy, can I show real quick what that posting center looks like?
Absolutely.
Okay, let me just throw that in
Sure.
real quick.
So
We're from that printing center. I also realized I forgot to note that right below individual event, I know you would have found them very easily, but there's also an all-around report and a team report. And you want to also make sure, just like Tracy said, that you go ahead and post those so that coaches can take a look and make sure that there's nothing that they have questions about prior to handing out the awards. And then once the awards have concluded, you've got this post final results button on the homepage. If you go ahead and click on that, you'll see that it shows you what it's going to post. So basically it's showing you a preview saying that if you post right now, this is what's going up. Make sure that it's correct. And if it is correct, all you have to do is click report results, and that's going to make them immediately live, just like Tracy said. So I think that's all I've got. One more time, I'll just send it back to Tracy and just say I'm grateful that you're using my service. I appreciate all of your patience, managers, as you work through it. And I hope that first off, I hope there are no problems, but if there are any problems or questions, I hope we can get them straightened out quickly.
Wishing everybody a successful meet. And again, if you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us.